Hello, everyone. We got a nice little crowd here. Janet was the first one, then Bill, then Jeffrey. Let's see, Family Channel, Virginia, Elliott, Ian. That looks like it. Ian, you're from New Zealand. Welcome. So anyway, guys, I wasn't sure anybody was going to show up tonight because I actually had it turned on for you guys to come on and chatted for almost 8 or 9 minutes before Janet finally come in, and then nobody came in to chat with her. I wasn't sure we was going to do anything because I have been having all kind of trouble with the internet here tonight. So I'm not going to prolong this. I'm gonna say the pledge. I'm going to play the music. We're going to talk to the kids. We're going to say and pray for a very loving family, and then we're going to do the show and just see what we can get done, what we can get accomplished, and how things are going to do. So I'll be right back. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again. Just my children. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today. Flag still stands for freedom, and so from the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, oh, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, to it's pride in every American heart. To you and defend her still today. Cause there ain't no Get a floating, a floating trading on it. Come by, use the desk, you're young, and those ones after for anything. You're young, yeah, who can keep your way? And you're young. You can find a brand someplace else or be you know, you look from one man pit, starts to get forward guy who is young and just doesn't understand. But the both of us are going to do it. Because now you know the young have kids working together and they're old. Yes, God bless the USA. Proud to be an American. I am. And for all the veterans yesterday, actually for all Americans and anyone who's had any family member in the military, I don't care what country you're in, I hope you had a great Veterans Day yesterday. See, guys, people seem to forget Veterans Day. I'm sitting in a room right now with a veteran. I was the only one that looked at him yesterday and wished him a happy Veterans Day. But you know what? He don't care. Because the only reason he's a veteran is because at 19 years old, Uncle Sam said, "We're drafting you." And out of the 24 months that he was in the military, he spent over 22 of them in Germany and France. Now, it might not have been Vietnam, but you have to watch your mom every day crying, when you have to watch your dad sad because he doesn't get to see his son. And there was no computers, there was no laptops, there was no way of contacting. Right now, people who's in the military, yes, it's dangerous. Anytime, anytime you're in a situation, it's dangerous. And I am happy to wish every ex-military person a happy Veterans Day. But what happens to these veterans? I can specifically tell you a lot of them that if I even try to talk to them about patriotism, it's like, no. But the hat is going to give us our own day, Patriots Day. And I think it's due. And I'm not comparing myself to someone who served. My brother Russ served in Vietnam. When he come home, I said, "What did you do over there?" He said, "I dated a lot of the Vietnamese girls." He went over a boy and he come back a man. I said, "Wow." I didn't understand what he meant at the time. I was a young kid. He came home when he was 21. I was only 13 or 14 years old. And I said, "Well, what else did you do over there?" And he says, "I was kind of like Radar O'Reilly is on MASH." And now when you go to Facebook and you go to all of these social sites that my family is involved with, my brother Russ has become the greatest war hero ever. He has become, I'm sure they're going to make a movie about him. He's the new Audie Murphy. He's the
Calling Radar Riley.
But as Ron said, we call him Radar Riley because that's what he told us. But see, guys, I'm not making fun of my brother Russ. I'm just stating a fact that's what happens. You know, I was a baseball player. My baseball stories nowadays might exceed what I actually did, but it doesn't matter. The older you get, the bigger the stories get. So can you imagine how big my brother Russ's stories will be about being a war hero when he reaches 150 to 200 years old? And people say, "Well, you're cuckoo for Cocoa Cup." What, ain't that right? Lady Anita and Betty, don't you think I'm crazy? But see, I love the veterans and I'll do anything for them. As a matter of fact, that's one of my projects is working with the veterans. Now, when I say working with the veterans, and I've said this in public to some people, I said, "Wait a minute, if we're all going to get this money, why will the veterans need help?" Why? Why? Because we love them and we want to show our support for them. But see, if there's a veteran and he's homeless and they don't have no way to get in touch with him, we got to make sure that all veterans, all people, veterans or not, we have to make sure that they're able to get what they have coming to them. And we have to make sure that all these terrible, terrible people, if they're still alive, get what they have coming to them. I have seen so many videos recently about people just biting at the bit to see these videos. And I seen a post about these videos, and you guys know what they're about. And I asked on a post one day, I says, "What are you looking more to watch? Which video?" And they said they ones that they wipe right off the face of the earth, them people that did what they did to the children. I said, "You want to watch them do it?" They said, I've had people look at me and say, "No, actually, we want to be the one that does it to them." When people say we're not coming together as a country, if we play the kids card, for what they did to these children, and anybody don't come together, then they should be at that place without ends and mo. But anyway, let's talk to the children. But before we do, I want to say a prayer for a family that I love, a family that you guys all probably all love. You talk to one of the boys every day, is little Jimmy. And little Jimmy's family is going through more hardships. I was on Telegram talking to Jimmy's dad today, Jim. I was on there talking for quite a while. We exchanged a lot of messages. And Jim is now off of work because he's having trouble with his foot. It's black. He's also having trouble with his heart. And I tried to relieve his anguish about the heart because what he was telling me is going on with it. I said it could just be this. It could be the stress. Because when I had trouble 2 years ago with my heart, and guys, if you remember 2 years ago, they told me I had about 8 hours to live. And I'm trying to tell Jim this. And then he tells me about his foot and he tells me about all this other stuff. And he's see some other hardships that they're going through. We all know that we lost Renee. Renee was a unbelievable member of this community. She was a person that she would do anything for anyone. She gave birth to 4 wonderful children and she lost her life stupidly. And that doctor has to pay because of what that doctor said and did. And I'm not going to go into what it was, but she deserves to never practice medicine again. She deserves to never step foot as a free person again in this world. But see, it gets worse than losing Renee because something I was told I could share with everyone. When the autopsy come back and the attorneys are talking to the doctors and talking to the medical field, and they found out not only did we lose Renee, but Renee was expecting. She was carrying a 4-month-old little girl. So Jim and Jimmy and the older boy, and I think it's Gracie and another little girl. They not only lost their mom, they lost a baby sister. So if you see Jimmy when he puts up his emojis, if you see him putting one up, I love you, sis, that's who he's talking about. To never get to meet her. But maybe that was God's way of easing Renee's pain, taking her to heaven with one of the children. I don't know. But Lord, we're coming to you here today, Lord, and we're asking you to look after Jimmy, his dad, his brother, and 2 sisters, the grandpa, Renee's dad. Look after these. Bring Jim back to health. Get these beds out there, Lord, so Jim can get on these beds and live the life that he deserves. Bring us our happiness and joy and blessings, Lord, that only you can bring. Whether they say it's in the military hands or in the hat's hands, we know everything is controlled by you. And I know you've seen the people suffer. The people who's bad, let's take care of them. The people who is good, let's take care of them in a different way. And Lord, but just look after Jimmy, his dad, and family in a way that they need right now. They need lots of love from lots of people as we pray to you through our Savior, your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen and amen. You know, it's a terrible situation. And, you know, little Jimmy, I come to you and talk tonight in the kids section. And for an 11-year-old boy, you've went through way too much. I was 48 years old when my mom died, and I know the pain. The pain still is lingering. But as I was telling your dad today, Jimmy, you don't take one step in your life that your mommy or his wife is not there with you. She's not leaving you. You just can't see her. She is with you every step. And when I realized that about my mom, it helped me. My mom was like your mom, Jimmy. She was my best friend. I adored her. And even though I was 48 years old the day that she died, she had a phone call from a cousin and they said, "What are you doing, Leona?" Noni. They called her Noni. "What are you doing, Noni?" And she said, "I just had lunch with my oldest son and my baby boy. At 48 years old in my mother's eyes, I was still her baby boy. And you are your mother's, and you will always be your mom, baby boy, Jimmy. Patriot 11, I'm hoping that you're riding horses and are flooded with girlfriends. You're too young to settle on one. But I remember the one thing about you when I used to get a chance to talk to you, and we would joke, and you always had a girlfriend. When you broke up with the one, you was brokenhearted, or she broke up with you and you was brokenhearted. But before the end of the summer, you had a new one. You're a great looking kid. You're an amazing kid. I hope grandma comes up someday and writes me and lets me know, maybe even gives me a little chat call. Maybe you'll even be there, but I know you're back in school and do your studies. And I agree with Charlie Kirk. I don't think anybody needs to go to college, but if you choose to go, go and do good. Patriot Karate Kid and Patriot Wyatt Earp, brave, courageous, and bold. You have great parents. Your mom is amazing. I miss talking to her, but sometimes in life, you just get busy. One of the best phone calls I ever had, boys, was the day you two called me. I remember we were laughing and joking, and it was just an amazing time. When I got off that phone call, I literally got tears in my eyes of happiness that I've touched you. I've touched you kids in a way that that not only your parents love you, but you have a whole group of people over here. There's 62 people over here in our on our show right now that love you. Patriot Princess, our queen, and Patriot uh, Hunter. Hunter, I see pictures of you, and grandma and your parents are going to be so busy trying to shake girls away from you. You're a handsome young boy, but more so, you're an amazing young man. And never forget the people who love you and are there for you. Princess, I was talking to a girl the other day, and I said, in our show, we have a princess, but we also call her our queen. And the girl I was talking to, she's a very good skater. We actually had a video chat. So if people say it wasn't her, I know better because I seen her on the video chat. And me and her has become very good friends. She's went through a lot, like a lot of kids do, but now she's back. And as much as I love my country kids, and I do, but when the Olympics happen, I will be rooting for this little Russian girl for everything she's went through because she, as the song says, simply is the best. But she is only going to be a queen. We have a princess who is a queen. Boogs, Boogaloo, Boogaroo, and Boogie. And the oldest one, you're growing too fast. Slow down. You're moving too fast. Let's make. And John, you sent me a picture of her, and it looked like she had one of those rings in a place that I don't like to see people have one of those rings. But she's a kid, and sometimes you got to give in to them. But slow down, sweetie. Enjoy life. Be a kid. I can remember being your age, and I couldn't wait to get into high school, and I couldn't wait to become a senior because that's where it was all about. When you was in high school, David, when you was in high school, Jeffrey and Myrna, how about Janet and Larry and whoever else I can't see here, Golden Arrow. Remember when we was in high school and we was in freshman or sophomore year, maybe junior, we couldn't wait to become seniors. Now we're seniors and we can't wait to get on the beds to go back in time so we enjoy the things that we rush so much to get away from. But this time, you'll age 1 year for every 5, 10, or 20 years, and it's going to last a lot longer. Kids, you have no clue of what you're about to embark on. We as grown-ups, we can talk about it, we can say what we think, But we truthfully, we have no clue, only what they're telling us. And we all know that they don't tell the truth all the time. Then we have Patriot Little Leona and Patriot um, Leland. I had a very good chat the other day with Patriot Leland's grandmother who deserted us, moved to Florida. I can see her moving to Florida because her grandparents passed away, her mom passed away. My cousin, who acted as her dad, even though he wasn't blood dad, but he raised him from the day she was born until the day he passed away. They're all gone and she's hurting. And she thought maybe a change of scenery. But she's walking away from two daughters, twin daughters, who are both married, who both have children, Laylan and a couple of other kids they have in their family, and a son. And it's not fair to them. But everybody has to do, kids, what they have to do, what makes them feel the best. Ron said he received a message today from somebody. I thought I would have too, but I did not because I wanted to tell you what it said. But anyway, now I'm going to go into my grandkids, Patriot Super Gymnast. She gave me a Christmas list the other day, and one of the things she wants, I said, your mom's not going to let me buy you an iPhone. I'm sitting here with a crap phone, and my 11-year-old granddaughter wants an iPhone, you know? And then she gave me a list of other things. And I was talking to her mom last night on the phone, and I said, so I got some ideas of these things. I'd like to send you pictures. Tell me which one you think she'd want the most. And I'm telling you, we're talking on the phone, we're having a nice chat, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Patriot Super Gymnast appears. It's like, hey, Papa's talking about my Christmas presents. I got to go see what he's saying. Once we quit talking and started talking about something else, she disappeared. It's amazing how kids can do this. I told you that Patriot 7 and his little girlfriend, they broke up. They were such a they were such a cute couple. But they're 10 years old, and when he broke up, he said to her, he said, "I'm sorry you feel this way, but we're only 10. We got plenty of time to get back together." They was just a cute couple. I mean, you know, they just enjoyed talking. It was just it was cute. Patriot Small Hank, he's at karate tonight or martial arts. I was picking on him the other day, and all of a sudden I went out to the kitchen and he's unloading the dishwasher to get ready to load it. And I said, "You want some candy?" Because they got all their Halloween candy put in bags in the cabinets. He goes, "Yeah, I have a piece of candy." So I open a bag and I give him, "Take one or take some." He took one. I said, "Take another one." He took another one. I said, "Take another one." He says, "Well, mom and dad said that I can only take two at a time." I said, "Oh, is that what they said?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Okay, so just take two. Is that you got the two you wanted?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "If you wanted anything else, what would you want?" He says, "Well, I really would like to have a little bag of M&M peanuts and a Snicker bar and a Milky Way." I said, "Oh, so you'd like more?" And he says, "Yeah, but I can't take but two." I said, "That's right, you can't, but I can take as many as I want." And I reached in, I grabbed the three he wanted. We walked into the living room to sit down. I looked at him, I said, "You know what? I really don't want this candy. Here, would you take it from me?" And he says, "I can only take two." I said, "You did only take two, but now I'm giving you three more." And he just busted out laughing because he says to me, he said, Grandpa Hank, you got a way of getting around things. Well, one of the reasons is I'm Grandpa Hank, and I don't care what my son and my daughter-in-law says to me when I'm spoiling my grandkids. Would you agree, John? Isn't grandkids to spoil? Papa G, don't you think so? So I spoil mine. The little monkey, she made me the cutest little spider, but she made it red with a black piece of crepe paper and a red spider's beautiful for kindergarten. And when she's making her teacher, so why are you making it red? And she looked at her teacher and she says, "You know, mom or mommy, I'm making it for my grandpa, and his favorite color is red. So I'm making him a red spider." And she did. And if I think about it for Friday night, I'll have it in here and I'll show it to you. She'll get the notion all of a sudden. She'll say, "Mom, we need to call grandpa tonight. I haven't talked to him for a couple of days. And I know he's really missing me." And I do. I tell you, the hardest part of my year so far has been not being able to watch her. And just I haven't seen him. I seen him the other day just briefly, but it'd been over 2 weeks since I had seen him. And then Patriot Kira, it seems like she's all gone. But boy, when she sees me, no matter what, we could go living in the same house, we could go 3 weeks without seeing each other. And the minute she sees me, it's grandpa this and grandpa this. And she always takes my hand and walks me to the kitchen. I said, "What do you want?" She opens the door to the cabinet and she points at the candy. She knows if she gets it, she can only get one or two. But Grandpa Hank can give her whatever she wants. And she gets the candy. She'll look at me and says, "I love you." And then she's off going to eat her candy. She gets it done. Guess who she comes finding again? So guys, that covers all the children. Pretty sure I hit them all tonight. I miss some of the kids who's not with us anymore. I think about them a lot. I think about a lot of children. Uh, Julia has a best friend that lives with her and her mom. They all live together because making the money that each one of them makes on the three grown-ups jobs, they can afford to live. Living alone, they can't afford it because they do not pay women right now during the wartime hardly anything at all. But a man makes 10 times as much as them. But the lady's name is Masha, and she has two little kids. I think the little girl is 8 and the little boy is 10. And I'm thinking, wow, that'll be great if Julia comes over here after all this, and maybe Masha will come with her, and my grandkids will have some more kids to play with. They're right in the same age. The little 8-year-old would be the same age as small Hank, and the 10-year-old would be the same age as Patriot 7. But that does conclude tonight. And remember, kids, this video is not made for you. As a matter of fact, I have to sign a little form every night saying that this video is not made for children, but there's always a way around it. You can watch it under the discretion of your parents, grandparents, or legal guardians. The music we played tonight is for entertainment purposes only. We have no legal rights to it, but as I said, it's for entertainment purposes only. So that being said, let's go into where we're at. Last night was Bruce in a big call. I'm always on the phone talking to Marianne. She gives me a play-by-play detail because I can't listen to Sue and Bob. She tells me how goofy they are and what they're saying and all that. Then when Bruce comes on, she relates to me all the intel. And last night, I was I was about halfway done with my supper, and my little dog Dasher was laying over here by the window on her dog pillow. And Ron looks at me and says, "How's Dasher doing today?" And I just happened to look over at her, and she was having one of her convulsions. So for people, if I normally contact you, like Linda, if you're on tonight, the reason I haven't contacted you, I've been really busy keeping a close eye on her. She's doing fine now. But see, a little while back, Linda give me some information about some stuff to try that would prevent the convulsions, maybe. And I looked into it, but I didn't order it because at the time it was just a little bit too expensive. More, I had to wait to get paid, and then I come across stuff that would help with her joints and let her walk better. But also, it had the same stuff in it that Linda told me. So I thought, well, why don't we try that? Why don't we see what we can do there? And I did, and she's been on it now for about 3 weeks. She has one of these convulsions about every 5 to 6 weeks. Last night's was the mildest she's ever had. She came out of it much quicker. It was a much easier one. And I'm just hoping that if we can't get her on the special beds before another 5 weeks is up when she's expected to have another one, if we can't get her on there, I'm just hoping that this medicine continues to work and to work and to work. Plus the fact now that I got paid and have a little bit of money, I think I'm going to go buy some of the stuff that Linda told me and have her on both of it. And who knows, maybe we can prevent this. Now, this is a little dog that I took to the vet 4 years ago with things like this. And 4 years ago, the vet told me there's nothing she can do. Our best bet would be to just put her to sleep. And I said, no, I'm not doing that. I'm giving her a chance for life. She's lived 4 years and she's lived pretty good. I mean, she has a little bit of problems, but for a 14-year-old dog, she's doing really good, except for the times that she has these. And she's had enough of them that I know how to treat her to calm her down and everything. So I didn't get to listen to Bruce last night. So I don't know a whole lot what he said, but I have had it sent to me. So I'm just going to kind of go up here and read what he had to say, and we'll get the show, the intel part, as Bruce likes to call it. Hey, Larry Smith. David, did I say hi to you? I think so. Mario. Okay, Larry, thank you. I don't listen to him. I talked to Larry was giving me some information about Bruce. You guys can read what he said. I listen to what Mary Ann tells me. It gives me and her a chance to visit, and we have a really good time. But Carpathia, who is friends with Wolverine, she always gets the intel and writes it down and that. So I don't worry about it. I meant to listen to Bruce last night. Now, Bruce last night, we all know yesterday was 11/11. It was Veterans Day, and I did take the time yesterday to wish my niece Trisha a happy birthday, and I also took the time to wish a girl that I've always considered my niece, Mandy, not Mandy, my daughter-in-law, but a different Mandy, Mandy Kruger. I did wish her a happy birthday. But Bruce's call last night, and he must not have saw it because if he would have stopped a second quicker. A second. Oh, 1 second more. 1 second more. His total time for his video, his part last night, or the whole show, his part was 11 minutes and 10 seconds. And if he would have seen that, he would have made it come on. That would have been pretty. I thought it was pretty neat when Ron told me anyway. And then Ron's talking to me on the phone last night before he went to bed. And I looked at him and I just happened to look down and I said, we should say goodbye. And he said, why? If we'd have just said goodbye, we'd have hung up at 11:11. But when he asked why, I said, because it just turned. If we would have hung up right then, it would have been 11:11. So it's funny how numbers go. And when numbers start coming together like that, guys, I'm a firm believer that we're right on the threshold of something amazing. You know, for some reason, my computer is set up for California time. So when I came on tonight, which should have been 6:44, my computer says 4:44. And me and Ron are always looking at the numbers. We'll catch 1111. We'll catch 111, 222, 333, 444, 555. And then, especially on a Sunday when we're playing this game, we're watching the football game Saturday and Sunday, college and then Sunday pros. And we're watching these games and we try to catch 666, 777, 888, 999, and so forth. We try to do this. And now, to show you, you can have fun with numbers. And my grandson Liam's Patriots 7's football games. I was there one day, and all of a sudden my daughter says, 999, Dad. And I looked, sure enough, on the clock, it was stopped at 999. She waited a little bit, and all of a sudden she goes, 888, Dad. Sure enough, she took it all the way down to 111. She caught every one of them. And I said, but you missed 1111. But it was only in the second quarter. So she made sure it was either in the third or the fourth quarter. She caught 1111. And see, guys, you can do this with people because you can get them thinking, and you have fun. Me and Ron will be sitting here in the daytime watching TV, and all of a sudden one of us go 222. And we haven't set his clock back yet. So I was looking at my phone the other day, watching TV with him. And I goes 222. And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden he looks at his clock 11 minutes later and it goes 333. And it, like I said, we have a lot of fun, and I think everyone else could have the same thing if you just get doing something like that. But here's what Bruce had to say last night. Tariff dividends. Bruce believes $2,000 deposit is for anyone with a bank account tied to their Social Security, and it may happen per month, every month, for up to 3 months. Now what Bruce says, everyone who has their accounts tied, but he goes on to say that if you're 28 years and older, you could get $2,000 a month for 3 months. But see, I was on a call today, and I don't remember who it was. Might have been Big Daddy or someone. I don't know who it was. But one of the calls that I was on today, the person who was talking said he's heard it's 3 months for 28 and older up through Social Security. It's 1 year and possibly 18 to 24 months for people on Social Security. And just imagine, and yes, I know, guys, we're getting ready to come into huge money, but just imagine what it would do for anybody, even just people 28 to 60. $2,000 a month for 3 months at this time of year gives everybody a nice Christmas. But see, we're not stopping there because there's other money that's on the table. And it may happen from up 3 months, If you're 28 and older, should be receiving this. The understanding from info yesterday is that it could start as early as tomorrow, the 12th. Now, when he said this, and I'd read this already, but then Ron got talking to me about it, and someone sent me a message. It could start today. I haven't checked my bank account. I don't know if it did. I'm assuming it didn't because no one else has said nothing. But I had told Ron earlier, maybe we're going to start getting that money tomorrow. And he looked at me like, why? And I said, well, I got my regular check that I'm supposed to get every Wednesday. I get my check every month on the second Wednesday of the month. That's when I get mine. Not before, after midnight on the second Wednesday of the month. And yesterday, for some reason, I went to check my online banking checking account, and my pay for this month was already in there yesterday early. So I got to think, well, maybe they're trying to get all the people who's getting paid today out of the way so they don't have nothing to work with until next Wednesday. And they're going to give everybody this money over the course of the next 4 or 5 days, which in essence is something that Bruce actually related to. If you do not have a checking account, they will find you by address, social security number, or whatever. They're also asking people if you know someone is homeless, tell them what's going on, tell them to go to either social security office or someplace and contact someone to get their name in the registry where they can be contacted. DOG supposed to be coming out close to the start of the exchanges. Do not have a timeline on it exactly. Heard same about R&R. It could come out next week, but not a definite date. Will be at the redemption. Will it be at the redemption center? We heard it could be. And the whole thing is for the people who have Zim, for us that has currencies who will be going to redemption centers, that would be the perfect place to give us the Doge and the R&R. Get it in our account right then and there. But if they're giving us the Doge and the R&R, remember when we go in and we're exchanging our income, they're only going to give us enough money, what they think we need or what we think we need to run ourselves for the first 90 days. After that, you get access to everything. They're going to be testing us. But if they're giving us R&R and Doge, that should automatically go in to an account that we have access to. But everybody's going to be watched, whether it's just Doge and R&R or if there's currency too. Because see, guys, it's not that they want to know your business. They just don't want you coming in to a huge amount of money and a year later be broke. And it's going to happen. Some people are going to go. But if they're following somebody and they're spending too ravishly, I think what will happen is they will take the majority of their money and set aside where they don't have access to it and just give them enough that they can live comfortably on. They don't want people rushing through this. And when we talk about the R&R, they're saying amounts we could get. Guys, I'll be honest, I think the sky is the limit. I really do. I mean, they come out and said that for the big N and big G, for this money that we're going to be given, that trust fund that was open, the Rodriguez Trust Fund, 150 and then 24 zeros behind it. Guys, they could give everybody $1 billion in the world and it wouldn't put a dent into this. So be happy. We're on target. We're getting there. Timing, heard from about 8 sources over the last 2 days, and some say we would receive numbers on the 12th, which we haven't, but it's not over yet. Some said phone numbers tomorrow and exchange on Thursday. One source, 11, 12, 13, get ready. Bruce says 11th is still in play, but it wasn't, because 3 other sources, one from Redemption Center leader, said he received info from Wells on the Treasury that numbers would start going out at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Myself personally, I think they're having Bruce say things like this because they're trying to force the bad people to look in ways. And there used to be a show, Candid Camera, and their theme song was "When at least expected, you're elected. Smile, it's your lucky day," and then go on to say you're on Candid Camera. But we can use that same song because when everything is being said, when they're talking about all of the things that they're talking about, remember, we could be in that boat. When at least expected, we could be elected, and we'll smile because it will be our lucky day. Now, how many times do you guys find yourself maybe talking to God during the day and asking him, not asking him to just give you the money, but just to give us the freedom and the enjoyment that we deserve. As the song said, it's been a long, long time. We've waited a long, long time. We were chosen to be here for a reason. Bruce would not give rates on the dinar and the dong and that, but he said it's extremely high. It's extremely way up there. Sorry, I had a phone call coming in. I had to decline it. It was from a lot of you guys' buddy, Big Daddy. I think he wants to talk to me, but I haven't felt real good today. So I'll try to get in touch with him tomorrow. So, in a nutshell, Bruce thinks that Thursday night could be a celebration call. I think Friday night could be a celebration call. Or maybe we'll challenge Bruce if we get the information later tonight or tomorrow and we're celebrating. Maybe we'll do a call tomorrow night and we'll get people to come on and hear what's going on. But I do want to build Bruce up a little bit here, guys. If you're here and you have currency, I'll get the 800 number. Ron will get the 800 number. And this is how I'm hearing the 800 numbers are going to work. And I'm not going to charge you for a program like certain people, AKA Sue does. But here's how it's going to work. There's 4 to 6 centers across the United States in time zones. And when you get an 800 number, you're going to call that 800 number. You're going to put your zip code in, and they're going to route you to one of the centers in your time zone. When you get on the phone, they're going to ask you your name. They're going to ask you a couple of other questions. They're going to tell you you need to have a valid ID with a picture, whether it's a driver's license or just an ID. I have both. And they're going to tell you you need to bring at least one bill with you that has your address for proof. They're not doing this to make you uncomfortable. They're doing this to prepare you. They're going to tell you where you can go. As I say, I live in a 60917 zip code. There's a few banks in my area. I may get to go to one of them, and I could, but I would prefer to drive about an hour to an hour and a half to where I'm not known. I go in, I meet with the people. I've went back and I've shortened my presentation so I can cover everything I need to cover. I had to go back and change all of my currencies because since I made my first list, me and Ron has changed into more currency in a lot of aspects. But the main thing is you don't want to be nervous. On your drive to the redemption center, you're going to have everything in order. Don't just, if you have like 5 or 6 different currencies, even 2 or 3, have them kind of in little envelopes, different envelopes. Don't go up there and take your Zim, take your dinar, your dong, your whatever, Venezuelan currency. Don't go up and just take it all and throw it on the desk and say, this is what I have. Here's the paperwork of what I have. Have it all neatly in individual little envelopes. Hand it to them. Hand them a piece of paper that shows what you have. And then you have another piece of paper and you have them sign it and date it. And if there's 2 people there, have both of them. And then you sign it. And that gives you the leverage that if they come back and say, you said you had 5 million dong, but we only had you for 4 million. Now I can see them being a discrepancy of maybe a few $1,000, but 100,000 or 1 million is just too much. And I don't think that they're going to do anything like that, but you want to be prepared. If you have a currency that they say, well, we can't give you anything for, say, okay, fine. bring it back. And if they say, oh no, we're just going to get rid of it. No, you bought that currency, it's yours. Take it home with you. You may never get anything for it, but at least you know that they're not going to lie to you and do things. As Carpathia said, last night's call was one of Bruce's best. And I have not listened to it yet, even though I've done the show tonight and that I'm going to go and listen to it tonight. When I go home, I'll write Julia, and after I write her, then I will listen to it. But before I go any farther in tonight's show, the one thing I have to say, I've been doing this for longer than Bruce. I haven't been doing shows longer than Bruce, but I've been involved with the patriotic movement for many, many years, 18 to 20 years. I go back to 2008. So that's what, 17 years? I go back and I could have bought, when I bought me and Ron with Ron's money, because I was broke coming off a terrible divorce. But when we bought our first currency, Ron gave me a couple $100 and we bought some dinar. A friend of ours, Ted Wyckols, who lives in Boston, Massachusetts, he said, guys, you got to get some of this. We had just lost, Ron, myself, and my brother Russ, we had just lost hundreds of thousands of dollars, each one of us, in a will that someone else in our family, I'm not going to say it was my sister, but you might know that it was. Her and her husband decided that her family deserved it all, and somehow we got eliminated from the will, and she got it all. Now, I got an attorney, and I could have had my sister taken her to court, and we'd have got our share. But my attorney said that my sister did some things that maybe she shouldn't did, as did my brother-in-law. And had we taken her to court, they might have spent a few years in jail. And the three brothers, me, Ron, and Russ, we discussed and said, we don't want our sister in jail. We'd rather not have the money. So when we bought this dinar, we bought 200,000. They were saying we're going to get between $4 and $5. And I thought, wow, if we get 4.5, that's 900,000. That gets us almost what we were supposed to get. So we was pretty happy. When one door closes, another one opens up. So we was pretty happy.
We thought it was going to happen that week.
And as Ron said, it was supposed to happen right away. We thought that week. Now this was in 2008, and we all know what we was going through. But at the same time that we spent $200, we had a chance to buy Bitcoin for half a penny a piece. But I didn't understand Bitcoin. Even though I played their games, I would go in and mine every day in about 5 different email accounts, one for me, one for Ron, one for my brother Russ, and one for my 2 kids. And I would get maybe a quarter of a Bitcoin, maybe a half of a Bitcoin. So wow, I'm getting a half a Bitcoin. I made a penny that day for all the time I was doing. And I mean, I had each one of us different email addresses. And then all of a sudden, after about a month, and I probably had 3 or 4 or 5 Bitcoin in each one of them. I forgot all about them. I lost the emails. I forgot the passwords. I couldn't get in there. They was emails from a company called Mail to World, and I couldn't get in there. And I never thought nothing about it. But then all of a sudden, Bitcoin grew to $10,000, $20,000, $50,000, now over 100,000. And I get thinking, someplace, if I could find it, and I know I can't, it's impossible, because the people who's running it probably got in my accounts and seen it, and they cashed them in. But someplace there's probably about 25 Bitcoin running around. And just imagine if when we invested 200, it was like $220 to get the 200,000 dinar. If I would have had money or he would have invested there and I would have taken even $50 and bought $50 worth of Bitcoin. Wow. But most people, they would be going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But I'm not, see, because if I would have bought $50 worth, I'd be really, really rich. And I never would have got involved in this patriotism movement. I never would have got to meet you, Myrna. And when I say Myrna, I have really met Myrna. She came to my birthday party and we had a blast with Diane and Ron and all of us. And we got pictures to prove it. Jeffrey and Lady Anita, everybody here. I would have never got to meet you guys. Money is great, but family and friendship is so much better. It's just so much. Governor Ron DeSantis was asked by a high school senior about his plans to eliminate property taxes in the state of Florida. His answer was straight. You'll be in a state where you can own your own home and owe nothing on it to the government, and you get to keep your own income and owe nothing to the state government. And I think that is the free state of Florida for you. Just imagine living in a world where you pay no property taxes. The thing that aggravates me about taxes? I'm 71 and Ron's 79. I haven't had a child in school. My daughter has been out of school for 21 years. My son for 22. So I haven't had a kid in school for all them years. But every year, over half of the taxes that Ron paid last year went to school taxes. And it wouldn't be so bad. But then all of a sudden you see these principals, these vice principals, these teachers driving around in cars 10 times nicer than ours.
Our football field.
Or the junior high that I went to, it needs renovated. Oh no, we're not going to renovate it. We're going to tear it down. All the kids that went to that school is going to watch where they went to school go tumbling down. So they can take the old football field, the old baseball field where I played, all the memories there, they can take and build a new junior high there. And I'm sorry to say, guys, because I don't say this much, but that totally sucks. Then you go over to the football field, the regular football field, and a guy by the name of Kenneth Seabach, he was our everything superintendent. And when he died, he had no family. He never was married. His family pretty much all left. He was a very wealthy man, and he donated all of his wealth to the school system. But he built a football field, and it was a great football field, a nice place to announce the games from. The home stands were great. The visiting sides were really good, better than any other high school that I've been to. But that wasn't good enough because now they got to take our taxpayers' money of people like me and Ron who can't afford it and others that can't afford it. They got to take this money. Oh, they got to take it and build a new football field where they have the tarp. They literally have the tarp. The tarp. It's like playing on top of a, and it's great. My grandson, Patriots 7, he played there in his game against there at the 50, huh? AstroTurf, yes, not tarp, AstroTurf. It is what it is. And he's playing there. And at the 50-yard line, all of a sudden we're looking out and he's looking down at the turf, and he's looking and looking. He has two coaches out there and they're looking and looking. He's got all the referees out there and they're looking and looking. And what had happened, he had got tackled and he got hit in the mouth and he lost his last remaining baby tooth. So I told him, I said, let's go over to the stadium tonight, Liam. We'll go over there and we'll lay your pillow down on a 50-yard line and we'll see if the good fairy puts that money under your pillow tomorrow. But it's amazing what I'm telling you right now, in my opinion, the Hersher Tiger Stadium, football stadium, is better than a lot of college stadiums. The baseball field that I told you I played on is more or less like a sandlot, but that's where we played my 4 years of high school. Now they got a fancy field on a beautiful diamond. They've got two other fields in town for the kids that are just unbelievable. We played we played at the park where we hold the Labor Day festivities. It was like playing on a hard, I mean, if you hit the ball hard, it got to you fast because that infield was now, man, it got grass infield. It's amazing, but it's all because of the taxpayers' money. And I wanted to point this out because we're not going to be paying taxes. Ron DeSantis has told us this. I want to read this real quick and then we'll end the show. Red. Red is the color of life force. This is called the power of red. It's the color of the life force, confidence and activation in its first color of the rainbow and the root charka. Our foundation, when you wear red, you're anchoring yourself into the physical world with a strength, passion, and courage. Spiritually, red reminds the body that it's safe to receive abundance. Energetically, it says to the universe, I am grounded, I am ready, I can handle the blessings that are coming. In the RV journal, where we've been holding such things, spiritual energy, for so long, red helps balance that upper realm vibration with a sense of embodiment, bringing heaven down to earth. Then it says, red aligns you to action, motivates movement and forward momentum. Courage helps overcome fear or doubt. Vitality recharges the spirit when waiting feels draining. Passion regulates your why for the mission. Rooted abundance connects your wealth energy to the physical realm. A manifestation tip: if you have been feeling tired, uncertain, or disconnected during this waiting period, try adding a pop of red, a shirt, bracelet, lipstick, or even nail color. Let it remind you that your dream is real, alive, and already forming. Red says, I'm not waiting for a blessing. I am the energy of the blessing. Well, guys, my battery is running low, so I need to get this on charge. We've been on for an hour and 3 minutes. We still have 91 people here, and I want to thank everybody who has showed up. Let's hope and pray that red comes our way. Let's stay united and stay focused for the glorious days about to happen, because as I said, and I've said many, many times, it only has to happen once. Let this be the once it happens. When it does, we're all going to be amazed. Take care of your loved ones. Be prepared to help people because they're going to need it, because there's so many people that just don't believe. I come to you and I talk to you. We got to love, friendship, and joy. And let's make each and every day the best they can be. Bye for now. Ron and myself, we love you with all our heart, and we'll talk to you soon.